Well, hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be back again on CD Bath, and this time it's quite a different episode. And I think in the last episode I was not there, so this time I made up for it, and I'm right here along with my co-host Lavpreet Kaur, and we have Miss Divya Ram with us, who's going to talk about a very interesting topic on independence of women, and she'll share her perspectives. Before going into the episode, let me introduce Divya for most of those who do not know. She's currently a software project manager at General Electric, which is a very prominent company. I'm sure many of you have heard it. And then she's also a professional model with 9 years of experience. And she has done her master's in business administration from Nottingham Business School, and she has done her engineering from SRM. And I can go on, and it's quite a very impressive profile. And given that she has taught underprivileged students in summer camps and NGO-run schools in India, I think it's a very interesting episode. It's going to be a very interesting conversation. So Divya, over to you. You can just give us a brief intro about yourself, and then you can just start off with what you wanted to talk about. That is independence of women, with your journey, and that's how it is. Over to you.
Your opening remarks, Divya, basically.
Thank you, Pavan, for a warm welcome. And first of all, thank you for having me on CD Bath. It's an honor to be on a podcast for youth leaders because I really want to motivate youth, and how much of a little I can do to contribute to their growth would be a privilege for me. So it's a great initiative. Keep it up. So I'm a project manager, as you mentioned. I'm currently settled in UK. I'm working with GE in their renewable energy division. And prior to this, I was doing my MBA with Nottingham Trent University. So the transition from a student who's on student visa to a permanent employee who's on work visa was the most difficult part. So it took me 8 months to land a placement with GE, and that 8 months, every single day was filled with rejection because I remember I at least applied for around 200 job applications, and every day I used to wake up to an email which said, your profile has been rejected, you have been rejected, you have not been selected. Hope and positivity only kept me going. And every day I used to fight like, no, I'll land a job, no, I'll land a job. So that was a struggle. And I'm grateful to God that yes, I did land up a job, and it was a dream job to work in a company like GE. It was a dream come true. So that was a professional struggle. Coming to my modeling career, so I think I started modeling in my engineering days. As you mentioned, I did my engineering from SRM Chennai. Beautiful university to be part of. It not only gave me educational, or I'll say bookish intellect, but also widened my horizons towards the cultural field. I learned dancing, literary events, and modeling. So that was my first encounter with fashion. And during my 4 years, there are a lot of budding talents there, photographers, designers who want to shoot you, and you enjoyed the 4 years. So there were two parallel fields I was always in: studies and then the culturals. So I did a lot of modeling, a lot of shoots, fashion shows. It was fun. And then we all graduated, and as all engineers do, I was in the rat race of finding a job. I was lucky enough, I would say, after like 4-5 months of struggle, I landed a job with GlaxoSmithKline Knowledge Center in Gurgaon. And I took 1 year to settle down in the firm. And I never realized I could take modeling as a career professionally. I think it was like a dream somewhere deep inside, but I really did not have the courage. And I never thought I can pursue it professionally. But after 1 year of working in the corporate life, I started realizing some monotony. And then I thought, no, some very major part is missing in my life. And what is it? So it was modeling. And that was a very brave decision because coming from a middle class family, you wouldn't hear anyone saying, okay, they'll say, I want to become a doctor, an engineer, a pilot maybe, but not a model. So here I was in Delhi where thousands of, budding individuals want to aspire a career in either acting or modeling, basically the fame world. And I had not a lot of money in my pocket to get my portfolio done from the big names in the industry like Dabu Ratnani and all. no godfathers, no godmother, no contact basically. And I was struggling. So I had my portfolio, very basic one. And I used to roam around Delhi, meeting all possible designers, brands, all modeling agencies, getting rejected every single day from the most demeaning comments which said that you can never be a model, you don't look like a model. To, it was a huge struggle basically. And in that struggle, a beautiful opportunity called Miss Capital of India came in front of me. So when they say, right, if you really, really aspire for something, the whole universe conspires for you to achieve it. I believe in that. And it was mere coincidence that I founded upon that opportunity. And I thought, okay, it's really difficult to enter the world of fashion. So let's enter it through the beauty pageant route. I thoroughly prepared for the beauty pageant. I lost around 10, 12 kgs. From a street food lover, I went on to proper healthy gym food diet. I joined gym. I used to walk in 5, 6 inch stilettos for hours, practicing ramp walk, mock photography, you name it. I groomed myself to be the next Miss Capital of India. And I'm grateful to God. Yes, I won the beauty pageant in the year 2017. And that was my entrance into the world of professional modeling from an amateur model who used to do modeling in college. So yeah, a lot of struggle, a lot of hard work there. But when I look back, I'm really happy and proud that I never gave up and I worked towards my dreams relentlessly.
Yeah. Something that connects the entire story is that Divya never gave up, and she constantly mentioned in every phase that she underwent rejections. It was not like in the first go she got to become a model, she got to become a project manager. There were always rejections, but she never gave up. That is something common in all the aspects of life that she shared. Well, Divya, first of all, you deserve a huge round of applause. You kudos to you, and you absolutely deserve to be a model. You are absolutely gorgeous and talented. Whoever said that, I think they got their answer as soon as you won the pageant. But yeah, let me say this again to you. You are absolutely gorgeous and you deserve to be a model. You are a model
Thank
already.
you.
So great. Grateful to have you on our podcast at the first place. I didn't get the chance to welcome you. So welcome. And thank you so much. Now that I've heard your introduction in detail, I think it's a privilege for us to have you on the platform to encourage everybody. And the first question that comes to my mind after listening to your introduction, will go on all the aspects though. But the first question is, like you said, being an middle class, a girl from a middle class family with not a lot of finances sorted, with an engineering degree in hands at the first place, the thought of becoming a model is far fetched for most of the girls. Even if I talk about myself, I think that is the last thing I would think of when it comes to a career, like developing a career, right? So there are people who always just say, okay, maybe you can become a model. You have a charming face, you have very good height, and stuff like that. So, what was your encouragement? How did you start that journey? Was there somebody who suggested you that probably you should go into this line, or was that a dream like every little girl has? Dressing up in front of the mirror and putting on mom's nail paint and lipstick and like trying to become a model or something. So how did it all started? How did this thought ever enter your head? Achieving it was like the next phase, of course. So how did this start? When did this start?
Modeling in particular, I guess, started only from university because before that, I never really knew a world of fashion existed. You only see it in television where, the actors are posing. But even before that, if I go back to my school days, uh, I have been a big victim of bullying. So I was very chubby as a child, okay, and very tomboyish also because I never really felt I can look good. And so that fire was inside me that, like guys used to come to me and say, Yaar, wo ladki pata de, please get us that girl. And even in every aspect, even be it educational or anything, when you're bullied, you are a loner and no one talks to you, you're made fun of, you're mocked. And so somewhere it instilled in me that fire that I want to prove the world you cannot look down on me, you cannot mock me. And that fire was somewhere there. And what burnt it was when I went to my engineering, And I saw that no, when I can look good, I can dress up, and that empowered me. That feeling empowered me, because when you have the talent and you outshine, not in a bad way, but when you come out of the crowd and you have an identity, people really respect and recognize you.
Yeah, yeah, of
And
course.
having a background where I was bullied, that was tenfold, and wanting to uh, to show the world that I am worth it.
I think it's important to realize here, guys, that a lot of girls undergo this phase, including me. That some of our guy friends, they are so chill with us, and
Yeah.
I don't mind behaving and being a tomboy. I think I have that character in me as well.
Yeah,
I'm not.
same.
I mean, my brothers, I mean, Pawan and Sameer, two of my best friends, they don't even consider me a girl for that matter while they're talking to me. But it's okay. I mean, if it's your personal choice to
Yeah.
always look like a tomboy and be chill and all, good. But I think it's the responsibility of everybody to make sure that you're not bullying somebody to an extent that it takes upon their mental health, right? Takes upon their mental peace.
True.
So it's always important to respect the other person, regardless of how they are dressing or how they are looking. And of course, I relate with you on this because as soon as you enter engineering, you realize how dumb you are, and you have no sense of dressing up whatsoever, because girls out there, they'll be like tip top and all
Yes.
dressed up, and with the bag in their hand, a sling bag sometimes, and with those short skirts and stuff. And we over there look like the school children with the oil in the hair and a long, a long ponytail, and you're like, what am I even looking like right now? So that comes in every girl's life. Okay, Pavin, enough of girl talk. I think you'll ask her the next question.
Yeah, so I have one question. So far we have discussed about you know how to deal with rejections, and Ms. Divya mentioned about it very clearly. So I have the question that comes to my mind is, okay, if we have something to do and some ideas, how do we manage to let's say get hold of we should not lose track of our ambitions usually. So how did you manage to get that ambition, and how did you try not to lose it and at any point of time, be it you're landing a job or be it in the modeling world? How did you try to push yourself each time up? So what was the question we had?
I hope you got the question, Divya.
Yeah. So ambition for me is something that doesn't let you sleep. It's dream. These are those dreams which you see with open eyes daily. And I think for every individual, it is very important to find a purpose in life. Uh, you are nobody with a purpose. So if you want to, lead a life, I think the first, foremost important thing is to find a purpose in life. And it takes a lot of time to find it. But once you have that purpose, I would say give it your heart and soul. Just devote yourself with it. It can be one thing, it can be three things, but whatever you're doing, do it full heartedly, because if you're just half heartedly trying to achieve it, you won't achieve it. Second is, once you know your purpose, plan your life in a way that every single day of your life you're working towards that goal. So from your daily tasks to your 3 year 5 year goals. So when I look back and I see where I am today, I planned it 5 years ago to land here. So and I live by a timetable, honestly. I plan when to eat food, when to go to gym, when to meditate. Every single activity that I have in my day is planned. So when you start with planning your day to having monthly goals, these monthly goals should feed into your 3 year plans, which finally feed into your long-term plans of 5 to 10 years. So that is very important. And that is how you ensure that you're on track of achieving your ambitions in life.
So coming to the next point, so there's always a point where we have to try to identify a balance between how far we are going and where we need to limit ourselves to. So if you were to put your journey in terms of finding a balance, striking a balance between your goals, and if you had any other ambitions as well, how did you try to find a balance, even if it's not something that's achievable? So say if there was something that was not achievable in your context, but you tried to balance it somehow and then manage. How did you try to find a balance between that? And also the second question is, how are you trying to find balance between whatever you're doing in your professional career and your other whatever hobbies or whatever you have? How are you trying to find balance in between? Because what I find is in most, at least I would not generalize it, but rather in a certain context, girls are not really allowed to think too much. They are not given that much of in such a context, it's difficult to balance things and also how would you go tell people to go about it? That's one question we actually came up with. We had also, so that was it.
So, one thing my parents inculcated in me from very young age was to excel in whatever you're doing, to try to be the best version of myself. So, when sadly, in today's world, ambition is always related to work life or professional field. But for me, if you're an ambitious individual, it's a trait you possess in yourself. So, when I say I'm ambitious, I think I'm an ambitious daughter, ambitious sister, ambitious friend, ambitious manager. So, in whatever domain I am, I'll give my best. When you strive for excellence in every field, you actually come out with that balance. And secondly, it is very important to understand that you are a product of all the different components that surround you. I have seen people who devote their whole life only into work or only into family. No, things can have like sometimes some things can be 80% important and something can be 20% important, but don't neglect anything. Try and identify the priorities of your life and then understand all the different components. Devote your time also to your friends, to fitness, to your hobbies, and that makes you a complete individual. And as I said, to achieve that balance, discipline is very important. So when I say I live by a timetable, there is a reason for it. We have 24 hours in a day, and trust me, it's a lot. So respect time. It's the most precious thing in the world. Don't waste it. Utilize your time in every day, in every month and year very judiciously. Plan for it. Introspect and understand what are your shortcomings, what are your strengths. Work on your weaknesses, and that will give you a direction and purpose. And every day, try to be a better version of yourself. So go towards continuous improvement. So as I mentioned before, it's important to find a purpose. When you have a person, be disciplined enough to devote your life into it. Plan your goals. And third is continuous improvement. Work on your shortcomings. Fourth, don't give up. Stay positive. Positivity is the key. It's that icing on the cake which gives you courage to not lose hope in spite of all the rejections, all the failures that you have faced every single day. Trust me, it makes you stronger. The taste of success is much more, I would say, yummier after your face at series of rejections because you value that success in. And I have this personal formula of dream, believe, achieve. It comes from the law of attraction or manifestation, which I thoroughly follow in my life. It doesn't mean just sit and dream. It means work hard, but be courageous enough, be positive to dream that uh, uh, you can achieve it. So live that dream with your open eyes. Dream your purpose, the purpose to which you want to devote your life to with open eyes. Believe that you're worth it. Devote your life to it, and then you'll see how the universe conspire for you to achieve it.
A very, very good point over here that, manifestation does not mean you just sit and dream, okay, I'll be this, and it'll happen by itself. Of course, I think manifestation requires a lot of your energy because you always have to think positive, and that itself requires so much energy, so much to be put in, and you have to stay focused.
Yes.
I think Divya has shared some amazing insights, guys. I think, normally people just say make a to-do list, maybe schedule your day, prepare a timetable or something, but she's practically given you an idea how this scheduling helps you throughout your life. I mean, in achieving your long-term goals. And I really hope we can all learn a little bit and, put this discipline into action in our lives as well. Because most of the times, where we lack is persistence. We want to do something,
Yes.
we dream of something, either we get scared of it or we get bored of it. And if it's, as we told you before, if it's not your passion, you'll always end up sticking in, feeling stuck and feeling bored while you're doing the process. And that's when you give up on it. And that's when you don't achieve it, right? And then you call it was difficult. So I think very important thing shared by Divya over here, which all of us need to note, and we should try to inculcate these little qualities that Divya has in her, which makes her different from all of us, which makes her a guest on CD Bath at the first place. And so yes, we should adopt that. Okay, Divya, I have a curiosity question here. Like you said, it requires a lot of courage, to follow your dreams, to follow your heart. And sometimes our dreams are a little impractical for the world. They might seem a little impractical to people as to, how can you even think of it? If I consider a personal example here, I am an engineer, a graduate in engineering, and I am pursuing my journalism at the moment, mass communication journalism, which is pretty impractical for most of the people around me, right? Also,
Yes.
apparently it's a risky field, so it's a big thing for a girl to step into something like this, a daring field precisely, given the condition of Indian media at this moment, right? So when you were stepping into a very different career from what you expected to be, of course, at the end of the day, you are a project manager now, but in between you had quite a shift from your actual career, right? So how was the environment around you, and how did you cope up? How did you get that courage to follow this line? I've asked this before, but then in a separate context, I'm trying to understand as to how did you follow, how was the society, how did people react, and how did you manage all of it, right? And after that, how did you again make a switch to project management? I mean, after having a full-fledged career in modeling, how did you make a comeback? It's really interesting. So I would like to know, what was your emotional understanding at the moment when you chose modeling as a career and then you made a comeback?
So thanks, Lovepreet. But I never left my job. So I used to go to office. I worked in, after my engineering, I worked with GlaxoSmithKline for 3 years. So my weekends were devoted to modeling. I never
Oh,
left my job. Yeah, because growing up, I had this dream of to be that, leading a big firm and having my own, team and or maybe company. So that dream is still there, and that's why my end goal is I want to land up in an executive leadership role. The dream of modeling came in when I entered my university. So
yeah, yeah.
it's like that. I wouldn't say it's only a hobby because I actually take out time for it. It's my passion. It keeps me alive. It empowers me. So modeling was always something part time I did alongside my job. And after winning the beauty pageant, there was a time when I was featured in a lot of media. I did a lot of runways all around India, and I actually maintained that balance between my professional career and my modeling career. So I always had that two parallel lives going on. But after one point, I realized I'm doing very good in modeling, but somewhere in my professional career, I didn't feel I was growing. My growth was stunted because and in the corporate sector, you'll get promoted once or twice, and then your growth is a bit, stuck at one position. And I felt I'm worth much more. And that's when I decided to pursue higher education. I applied to a lot of universities, and I got Dean Scholarship of Academic Excellence from Nottingham Trent University. It was a golden opportunity, and I couldn't miss that. And it was one of the most difficult decisions in my life because going to UK to pursue higher education meant bidding adieu to my modeling career forever. Because that time I didn't know I could go and pursue modeling in UK as well. Because when you I never saw myself as an international model, right? To become a model in Delhi itself was such a big struggle. So, but they say if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. So there I was, and I made that tough call, and I'm thankful to God I did make that call.
Mhm.
I chose my higher education. So when I said, right, the 8 months I was applying for jobs daily and I got rejected. Parallelly, I was applying for modeling jobs as well because it could have been also my part-time job and also source of finance for me as on student visa abroad. And but that time was actually testing me, I think, because for that 8 months I was getting rejections in the field of modeling as well. So daily dual rejections in both the field. But when when things got sorted, when I got job, then I also started getting modeling uh, uh, opportunities in the
Yeah.
UK. Yeah, so
So like,
I got bigger opportunities actually.
how,
Sorry.
how was the reaction of your family to it and the people around you? In a sense, were they all supportive when you decided that you will run them both parallelly also? I mean, running them both parallelly also meant that you were all out on the stage and, performing in different places, walking on different ramps and taking up different you were covered in media, right? So
Yeah.
was everyone comfortable with it? Was your family comfortable with it? Or were there some social, stigmas holding you back at that point?
Initially when I started, like that is after my universities, I think other than two of my friends, my best friends and my sister, the whole world actually thought the girl has gone mad. And there is this instinct inside after, when Indians are young, that we want to enter Bollywood, and they were like, she has gone into that phase and she'll ruin her career. And they're like, she's an intelligent girl, what is wrong with her? And but when, like, especially my parents, when they realized the dedication and devotion I put into that, and they saw how much hard work I was putting into it, they were really supportive. They never pushed me to not only to stick to my job. They were so supportive that they said, if you want to leave your job and pursue full-time modeling, go for it. They were that supportive. It was my call that I never wanted to leave my job. So yes, I'm blessed to have such supportive parents, because when you have them, you don't care what the world says. So
Why I
yeah.
asked you this was because we have had a very similar story earlier on CD Baat, but those were the times when we used to do audio podcasts. So we had Navam Singh. She won the pageant Miss Bihar in 2017 only, I suppose. And
Okay.
right now she's a budding lawyer. She's into law, and she had a very similar story, but a little more challenging because something you have to hear that episode. We'll just link it here
Surely
on,
I'll look into it.
and you'll also have to see to it. But she's such an inspiration, and she also told something similar, that her family was supportive while the rest of the world was always trash talking and stuff. So
Trust me,
what?
rest of the world was very harsh
Yeah,
as well.
very hard.
Like from
Yeah,
from comments on how I look, to how much I weigh, to my facial
yeah,
features,
yeah.
that my teeth are protruded, or anything. It could
Yeah,
not have got meaner. And
exactly.
there
So
was no one. So yeah.
highlighting what I'm trying to highlight over here is that if your family is supportive enough, if any parents
Yes.
are listening to me right now, if parents are supportive enough and they are encouraging their girls at all times, I think all the girls can make them proud, and all the girls, even if they choose the most daring fields, can actually make a big name for themselves, and they can do that without sacrificing their respect and their honor and your honor, of course. So, yes,
Yes.
to all the parents who are listening right now, you really need to support your girls in whatever endeavors they choose. And then you'll get girls like Navam and Divya who are equally good professionally and equally good in their part time career or their whatever you call it, the second career. Yes, Pawan will ask her the question, I think, about independence now. What is her definition of an
Yes,
independent woman?
exactly.
You put it.
So in this context, the whole point is okay. We have seen how Ms. Divya has told about her struggles, and the rejection part is what I like the most, because people don't realize nowadays, even after applying for 10 jobs, 20 jobs, they're like out. We're very, I know, pessimistic about the market and all, and they think they'll not be employed. In this context, it's also important that we have to carve our own niche and sort of start being independent. In the sense, it's not always about dependent on people to help us and all these things. So if you were to give in a very short term, because we're not having much time, so I just like to ask in the final thing, what do you think about independence in women? How do you expect women to create that independence for themselves without any support? Because not often do we get do women or anybody for that matter get support so easily. So in this is the question. So how do you create your own independence and uh, carve a niche for ourselves in one particular way?
So independence for me is the freedom to live the life of my dreams, the power to shape my future the way I want to, the willpower to uplift myself, work on my shortcomings and the choice to make my own decisions. And talking about decision making, yes, a lot of times it is associated with finance or monetary capabilities. But how do you become financially independent? Lovepreet, what makes you financially independent?
I think financially independent is when you don't have to rely on anybody else, anybody,
True.
for all the small dreams that you have, to buy something, maybe to buy your dream
Yes.
car, to buy yourself a good dress, to buy yourself a good meal. That's what you call financial independence in my view.
But what it comes from is that finance, that's not the root cause analysis here. It's education for me.
Yeah.
You can only be financially independent if you have the right education. Now, when I say education, it's not the bookish knowledge. Yes, it adds up. If I'm a software project manager, yes, I've really studied MBA engineering, but it's that exposure which tells you what's happening in the world. It widens your horizons, it opens up all the opportunities, all the doors, which takes you closer to your dreams. So education makes any individual, irrespective of gender, independent.
This
So that's
this
why
education
education.
also includes you knowing what are the different sources of becoming financially independent even at younger ages. We see a lot of
Yes.
young girls and boys doing a lot of different things. We have had examples, doing things like, they are doing things like freelancing and etc. at
Yeah.
such a small age, and actually earning themselves the pocket money that they usually ask from their, like other children usually ask from their parents. So yes,
True. Yeah.
education also is to explore how you can earn from little skills and passions that you have. Yeah.
Yes. So the exposure, like my sister gets a part-time income from content writing. I got my part-time income from modeling. So that exposure of what the world holds for you is education. So education is very close to my heart, and I really want that it should be a birthright. Every individual should be entitled to education. It should be like you breathe, you eat, and you have the right to education. And that's why, like, if you say my part-time career is, I'm a student mentor with both the alumni groups of my universities, engineering and MBA, and with Techemania, where I give them guidance over any engineering or masters abroad, basically educational queries and career guidance. And in my engineering, I've also taught as part of my university and an NGO called Greenverse. We used to teach in different schools and summer camps promoting education. And this is another goal which I have in my life, that when I land up in executive leadership level, I really do something about education, because a nation's worth is determined by how educated their youth is. And this would be my message to each and every student who's studying. You're really lucky, and that you have the privilege to be educated in any school or university. There are lakhs of, you take India's example, where they don't have the basic right of education.
Right. Right. They don't have the resources. They don't have the
They don't
privilege. They don't have people to teach
to be
them.
educated.
Yeah, they want to be educated, but they don't have enough resources. So
Yes.
yes, of course, we're all lucky, and we should take up that
Yes.
as something, as a privilege, rather than taking it as a burden. Great. I think,
Yeah.
Divya, you're an overall personality. What should I say? It's commendable.
You're
She's
being kind.
motivated. Yeah, she's motivated you to take up your passion as a career. She's given you the roadmap to it, a practical, achievable roadmap to every career that you want to pursue. She's telling that education is close to her heart, and she's promoting education for everybody. And this is what a young leader looks like, who is not independent herself, but wants everybody, shows everybody the path to become financially, and however you want to call it, independent and free
I
from all
believe
the problems. Yeah.
life is a circle. I am where I am because of a lot of people who contributed in my road to whatever minimal success I have in my life. And it is my duty to give back to the society. I believe in karma, and I would request anyone who's capable to contribute to the society in whatever little way they
Of
can.
course, of course. Amazing, amazing, amazing words by Miss Divya. And Pavan and I, both of us, are like, we're actually wondering what to say and how to end this, because it's already such a wonderful ending. But yes, guys, take out time and go for social volunteering whenever and wherever you can, however you can. Try to share your resources, your happiness, and your knowledge with people around. And you can do that even by coming up here and sharing your views with us. Divya, thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure having you. I'll let Pawan do the ending
Same
now.
here.
And yeah, I think Lovepreet, I have to agree. This was a very enlightening and interesting podcast, and I hope all our viewers will also like it. And don't forget, viewers, not only to share this video and like it, but also subscribe to the channel. And with that, see you all again in the next episode. Thank you.